Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Pawsitive News, the place where we slow things down for a few minutes and take a breather together. Here at Odie's Doghouse, this show is a shared space, a moment where all of us can step away from the constant scroll, settle in, and spend a little time focusing on the good things still happening in the world. Whether you're just getting home, winding down for the night, lurking quietly, or hanging out and chatting along down in the comments, you're part of what makes this space feel the way it does. Pawsitive News isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's about noticing the moments that remind us people are still helping each other, still creating, still learning, and still choosing kindness in both ways, big and small. Tonight, we got a full lineup ahead. Good news stories from around the world, a bright side moment worth slowing down for, some fascinating science, and a little gaming history to bring on a touch of nostalgia. So get comfortable, say hello in the comments, and let's take a few minutes together to pause the noise and enjoy something a little lighter. Welcome to Pawsitive News. Now, over to This Week in History with a special guest host. Alright, thank you Odie, and while Serb is out getting his latest issue of Clown Boobies, I am here with This Week in History. Before we move into more of tonight's stories, let's pause for a moment and take a look at this week in history. A few snapshots from the past that still echo into the present day. We start on March 1st, 1872, when Yellowstone became the first national park in the United States, and the first of its kind anywhere in the world. Historical records from the National Park Service and the Library of Congress show that the President Ulysses S. Grant signed the Yellowstone National Park Protection Act, gonna kill our lead writer, setting aside a vast, not for ownership or industry, but for preservation and public enjoyment. Hope I got those $20 words right. The decision introduced a powerful new idea at the time that some places should be protected simply because they belong to everyone. Then, on March 2nd, 1962, basketball history delivered one of the most legendary performances, according to the official NBA historical records and contemporary Associated Press reporting. Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points in a single game. Actually, this week, somebody got very close to matching that record. There was an 81-point game in the NBA this past week. So, it's a good thing this popped up. A little extra history tidbit for you all. That record still stands still today. Almost got broken. Played in Hershey, Pennsylvania, the moment quickly became larger than the sport itself, representing a rare night where preparation, endurance, and opportunity aligned perfectly. Moving ahead to March 6, 1899, the year Serb was born, Bayer officially trademarked the name aspirin. Documentation preserved in Bayer corporate archives and the Smithsonian Institution's business history collections confirmed the registration of the medication that would go on to become one of the most widely used pain relievers in the world. What began as a scientific development soon became a household staple, shaping everyday medicine for generations. And finally, on March 7th, 1876, the year I was born, Alexander Graham Bell received a U.S. patent number 174-465 for the cell telephone. Look that patent up, swear to God. Confirmed through records from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office and the Library of Congress, the patent described a way to transmit human voice electronically, a breakthrough that transformed communication and laid the foundation for the interconnected world we live in today. I wonder how that's affected us now. Moments like these remind us how ideas, discoveries, and achievements from long time ago continue to influence daily life in ways we don't often stop to notice. Alright, now let's throw it over to Serb. He should be home from getting clown boobies. He's got global good vibes.
Thanks, Odie. I guess.
Serb, this isn't clown boobies. This is the Sears catalog.
Same thing. let's move on to tonight's Global Good Vibes. A few stories that highlight meaningful changes happening in different parts of the world, often through simple ideas carried out with intention. Our first story takes us to Kansas City, where the Kansas City Public Library permanently waived late fees in an effort to make library access easier for everyone. Reporting from the Associated Press noted that many librarians across the United States began reconsidering overdue fines after recognizing they disproportionately affected low-income readers and families who relied on public resources. By removing fines, the library shifted its focus back to its core mission: access to books, education, and shared public space. Follow-up reporting confirmed that more patrons returned to the library, previously inactive accounts were reactivated, and book returns have actually improved. I'm not safe. Someone help me. A small policy change helped reconnect people with a resource designed to serve the entire community. Next, we travel to the Spanish town of Porores on the island of Majorca. According to Reuters and local coverage from the Majorca Daily Bulletin, the town launched a renovation initiative that transforms abandoned houses into affordable housing for residents. Rather than expanding development outward, the program restores existing buildings that had fallen into disuse. The effort preserves local architecture while creating attainable housing options, allowing residents, especially younger generations, to remain in the town. Empty structures have gradually become homes lived in again, bringing renewed activity and stability back to the area. I like this next one.
Why is there lotion next to the Sears catalog with a note to Billy?
Our final story focuses on students participating in programs connected to the first robotics competition coverage from Smithsonian Magazine. Highlights how high school robotics teams have collaborated to design low-cost assistive devices for people with disabilities. Students work directly with individuals in their communities to create practical solutions such as adaptive tools and accessibility devices tailored to everyday needs. Many teams openly share their designs, allowing others to replicate and improve them, expanding the impact far beyond a single classroom or into competition season. These projects demonstrate how technical education can translate directly into real-world problem solving that improves daily life. Together, these stories show how thoughtful decisions, local cooperation, and collaborative creativity continue to shape positive outcomes in ways that may not always make headlines, but steadily improve the lives of people around the world. Back to you, Odie, for the bright side.
Thank you, Sex Robot Stirp. For tonight's bright side story, we're looking at a moment that started as a simple daily act and quietly turned into something a whole community chose to recognize.
Somebody tell someone!
Tell 6.9 friends. In a busy neighborhood covered by ABC News during a Good Morning America feature, construction workers noticed an elderly resident struggling to safely cross a heavily trafficked street near their worksite. The road had steady traffic, limited crossing support, and for someone moving more slowly, it had become a stressful and sometimes dangerous part of everyday life. So the workers made a decision. Every day, without being asked and without any formal instruction, members of the construction crew began stopping traffic themselves so the resident could cross safely. What started as one moment of awareness turned into a routine. Day after day, they paused their work, stepped into the street and made sure the crossing was safe before continuing on with their jobs. Local ABC affiliate reporting confirmed that the neighbors had began noticing the pattern. Drivers slowed down, residents watched from nearby homes. Over time, what might have seemed like a small gesture revealed something larger. Consistency. It wasn't a one-time good deed. It was people choosing to look out for someone else simply because they could. Oh, hey, Billy. Yeah, he's back there.
Run, Billy, run! Save yourself.
Eventually, the surrounding community organized a recognition event to thank the workers for their kindness. The crew, who hadn't expected attention or praise, were publicly honored for the care they had shown through an everyday action repeated over the weeks. The story stands out not because of a grand rescue or a dramatic moment, but because it highlights how awareness can quietly reshape. A busy street became safer. A routine crossing became less stressful. A group of workers reminded everyone watching that sometimes the brightest moments come from noticing a need and responding to it consistently. Alright, break out your bongs and let's throw it over to Serb for that. Stone science.
Alright, it's time for stone science.
What are we ejaculating? I mean, erupting today.
He does dirty things to me. The part of the show where we slow down, look at what researchers and explorers are discovering, and appreciate just how strange and impressive the world can be when curiosity leads the way.
Wow, that's quite large.
Our first story comes from groundbreaking medical research focused on helping people communicate in entirely new ways. Scientists working on a brain-computer interface, documented in peer-reviewed Nature publication and released through reporting from Stanford Medicine, successfully enabled a paralyzed patient to communicate full sentences using only neural signals. The system worked by interpreting brain activity connected to the intended speech. Instead of relying on muscle movement or typing, the technology analyzes the patterns of the brains associated with forming words and translates those signals into readable language on a screen. For individuals who have lost the ability to speak due to paralysis or neurological conditions, communication can become one of the greatest challenges in daily life. Earlier assistive technologies allowed slower letter selection or basic responses, but this research represents a significant step forward, allowing a more natural sentence formation at a much faster pace. Researchers emphasized that the goal isn't just technological achievement, but restoring independence and personal expression. Being able to communicate thoughts clearly, to ask questions, share feelings, or participate in conversation changes how someone reconnects with the world around them. Our second story takes us far below the ocean's surface, to places humans rarely see. Scientists working with NOAA Ocean Exploration, alongside research published in Science Advances, uses autonomous underwater vehicles to map previously unknown deep-sea coral ecosystems. These robotic explorers travel thousands of feet underwater, navigating environments too deep for fragile for traditional exploration. Advanced imaging and mapping technology, researchers discovered extensive coral communities thriving in darkness far beyond where sunlight reaches. Deep-sea corals grow incredibly slowly, sometimes over hundreds or even thousands of years, creating habitats that support diverse marine life. Mapping these ecosystems helps scientists understand biodiversity in the ocean and provides critical information for conservation efforts, especially as changing ocean conditions continue to affect marine environments. What makes discoveries like this remarkable is how much of Earth remains unexplored. Even now, with satellites orbiting above us and technology advancing rapidly, entire ecosystems can still exist quietly beneath the surface, waiting to be understood. Together, these two stories remind us that science moves forward in many directions at once, sometimes inward, decoding the signals of the human brain, and sometimes outward, revealing hidden worlds beneath the deep blue sea. Each discovery expands not only what we know, but what becomes possible next. And now on to Odie for gaming history.
Alright, take her easy, Billy. Enjoy Serb's gifts.
Run!
Alright, thank you, sir. That was awesome. Your farmer and robot impression are spot on. Now it's time for gaming history. A quick step back into the moments that helped shape how we play today. In 1998, Nintendo launched a unique evolution of its handheld lineup with the release of the Game Boy Light. Launched exclusively in Japan on April 14th of that year. According to Nintendo's official product history and hardware archives, the Game Boy Light looks similar to the Game Boy Pocket, but introduced one feature players had been quietly wishing for since the original system launched nearly a decade later.
I wanted one.
It was a built-in blacklight.
Yeah.
It's because Sir liked risque games in the dark.
Read that again.
For the first time players...
Backlight!
For the first time, players could comfortably game in low-light environments without needing the external accessories or perfectly aligned lamps like I needed. It sounds like a small upgrade now, but at the time, it solved one of the most common frustrations of handheld gaming. Trying to see the screen clearly during car rides at night or in dim rooms. It was a pain in Serb's keister. The Game Boy Light never released outside of Japan, which gave it almost legendary status among collectors and fans worldwide instantly. Even so, it represented an important transitional step between Nintendo's early handheld designs and fully illuminated scenes that would later become the standard in portable gaming. Which game do you think would have carried something like that on? Around the same period, another release helped redefine how games could connect players. Two familiar characters. Pokemon Yellow's Special Pikachu Edition launched in Japan in 1998 and internationally in 1999, as confirmed by official release records and later documented in BBC gaming retrospectives. Unlike earlier Pokemon titles, Pokemon Yellow was inspired directly by an animated television series. Pikachu followed the player on screen, reacted emotionally, and became more than just a party member. It felt like a companion traveling alongside the player's journey, just like Serb and me. This change may seem so subtle today, but it marked a shift in how games approached connection personally. Players weren't just controlling creatures anymore. They were forming recognizable bonds with characters that responded to them in visible ways, like crying all the time. Again, it's like me and Serb.
He makes me cry so often.
Together, the Game Boy Light and Pokemon Yellow showed how handheld gaming was evolving at the end of the 90s, improving both the physical experience of playing and the emotional experience of inside the game itself. Small hardware refinements and the creative design choices helped handheld gaming feel more personal, more portable, and more alive than ever before. Before this gets out of hand, let's go to Serb for our pause for the thought of the evening.
I'll get you out of hand. As we start to wind things down tonight, this is the part of the show where we slow the pace a little more and sit with the idea of connecting everything we've seen.
I know we joke around here, but why is Morty pooping out of hand?
Oh, what? Community. Not the big abstract version of the word, not follower counts or numbers on a screen, the real version. The one built through small, repeated moments between people. Throughout tonight's stories, we saw different forms of it taking shape. A A library removing barriers so more people could return to a shared space of learning. A town restoring empty buildings so neighbors could continue living side by side. Students working together to build tools that improve someone else's daily life. Workers choosing day after day to make sure one person could cross the street safely. None of these moments require recognition to matter. They weren't driven by headlines or rewards. They happened because people noticed each other. Community often isn't loud, it's consistency. It's showing up again tomorrow the same way you did today. It's small decisions that quietly say, you belong here, without needing the words out loud. And maybe that's why the spaces like this, streams, chats, shared hobbies, conversations, end up meaning more than we expect. They become places where people learn each other's names, celebrate milestones, support hard days, and create routines that make the world feel a little less isolated. Community isn't something built all at once. It grows through participation, through kindness, repeated often enough that it becomes normal. Though people choosing to be present for one another, even in small ways. So tonight's thought to carry forward is simple. The spaces we share become stronger when people contribute not to perfection, but presence. Just being there, listening, helping, encouraging, or even quietly supporting just shapes the environment around us more than we realize. And sometimes the most meaningful impact we have isn't something dramatic at all. It's just choosing to show up.
And that brings us to the end of the positive news. If you spent this time listening, lurking, chatting, or just letting the show play in the background while you relax for a bit, thank you so much for being here and sharing this space together, because it's for all of us. Taking a few minutes to slow down isn't easy, but sometimes it's exactly what we need. I know this personally. As always, the stories we talk about here don't exist to replace reality. They help balance a current one.
Escape the current one?
A reminder that alongside everything loud and stressful, there are people still helping, building, learning, and looking out for one each other every single day. So, if something tonight stuck with you, carry that feeling forward. Let us know. Serb's inbox is always open. Share a little kindness where you can. Support the spaces that make you feel welcome. And don't forget to give yourself moments to pause once in a while, too. We'll be back next time with more stories we're slowing down for. Until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you soon. Good night, everybody.
Clown boobies.
Clown boobies.